Hey guys, it's me Luisa and welcome back to another Let's Talk Modern session. Today's going to be different because we are traveling back to 1919 to 1933 as I tour you around Bauhaus building in the Zoo, Germany. Let's take a look around. Bauhaus means the art of building. It aims to reconcile arts and crafts to create a new industrial aesthetic, what you now call design. Every discipline was established in this movement: metalworking, weaving, painting, stagecraft, dance, film, and all the creative stuff you can think about actually. Even the study of color arose from this movement. Electrical appliances and furniture that are so important to us today were designed in this movement. So, what about the art of building? Let's talk about that. At first, looking at this building is somehow difficult to understand at first. I myself could not comprehend its form. According to studies, however, the founder of this building designed it in such a way that it adapts to the true needs of the students, the accessibility of light, and the sense of community within living in a complex. He opted for an interlocking system by linking all the elements in a deliberately asymmetric way. Hence, each area had their own design, had its own coherence to the rest of the building. The asymmetry expressed in the school's functionalist approach had its own elegance and showed how beauty and practicality could be combined. Although the design seems strongly unified from above, each element is clearly divided from the next, and on the ground it unfolds a wonderful succession of changing perspectives. The building consists of an abyssal-tiled roof, steel framework, and reinforced concrete bricks to reduce noise and protect against the weather. In addition, a glass curtain wall, a feature that would come to be typical of modernist architecture, allows in ample quantities of light. Gropius created 3 wings that were arranged asymmetrically to connect different workshops and dormitories within the school. The complex of the Bauhaus has come to be seen as a landmark in modernist functionalist design, as we can see from its interior and also in its exterior. This inspired many other design forms such as graphic design and typography, which are all huge contributions to the modernist era. So who is exactly behind this school? This school that became famous for its approach to design, for its unconventional, leading-edge art in architecture. Let's talk about that.
That's right, Walter Gropius. If you haven't heard about him, you're missing a lot in the modernist movement. Gropius was a son of an architect father. He followed the footsteps of his father by pursuing architecture in Munich and in Berlin, Charlottenburg. He did a little architect work in Berlin and saw military service in 1904. But before he finished his studies, he completed his first buildings, which were farm laborers' cottages in Pomerania. He went to Italy, Spain, and England, and finally in Berlin to join the office of the architect Peter Behrens in Berlin. However, he found some difficulty with his work with Behrens, as it did not shape his lifelong interest in progressive architecture and the interrelationship of the arts. When he left, Gropius developed a clear commitment to and talent for organization and a dedication to promoting his ideas on the arts, and joined German Labor League, which had been founded in 1907 to ally creative designers with machine production. Gropius argued for such building techniques as prefabrication of parts and assembly on the site. He was against imitation, snobbery, dogma in the arts, and cautioned against such oversimplification as the notion that the function of a product should determine its appearance. Prior to World War I, Gropius' growing intellectual leadership was complemented by his design of two significant buildings, both done in collaboration with Adolf Meyer. During that war, his career in architecture was interrupted. Gropius served as a cavalry officer on the Western Front, was wounded, and married Alma Mahler, whom he had met in 1910 when she was still married to the Austrian composer Gustav Mahler.
So, what happened after the war? You might think that his artistic career ended, but no. Gropius became master of Grand Ducal Saxon School of Arts and Crafts in Weimar in 1919 upon recommendation of Henry van de Velde, who had stepped down from the post because of his Belgian nationality. He gradually transformed the school into the world-renowned Bauhaus, so that's where the birth of Bauhaus started. The Drew distinguished and the extraordinary teachers like Joseph Albers, Otto Bartning, Paul Klee, and Laszlo Moholy-Nagy, among others. The program of the Bauhaus was experimental, with prominence given to theoretical aspects. It strived to enhance quality as well as beauty of each building through use of industrially developed designed items. Oh, this is interesting. He designed door handles in 1923, which eventually became famous and at present is considered as a significant and breakthrough design that represent applied art. It became one of the models among designs of the 20th century. And during the 1926 to 1932, he had designed many extensive housing projects in Dessau, Karlsruhe, and Berlin. During 1929 to 1930, he was involved in designing a part of the Simmenstadt project in Berlin. And did you know that the upsurge of the Nazis in 1930s and the rule of Hitler saw forced closure of Bauhaus in 1933? The following year, Gropius tactfully fled from Germany on the pretext of visiting Italy for a film festival. Later, Gropius relocated to Britain, and from that time till early 1937, he remained associated with the ISKCON design group. And a few years after, he was inducted in Harvard University as the chairman of the Department of Architecture in 1938 and held the post till retirement in 1952. That's quite a long time. His protege, Marcel Breuer, with whom he collaborated projects like Aluminum City Terrace and New Kensington, Pennsylvania, and the Allen W. Frank House in Pittsburgh, was also inducted in the faculty. In 1945, he established the Architects Collaborative, or the DAC, a Cambridge-based association of young architects that included 6 of his ex-pupils from Harvard. A few years after, he was elected as associate member in the National Academy of Design in 1967, and the following year, he was inducted as an academician. Alright guys, so I think it's time to conclude now, and I think it's best to wrap up this Let's Talk Modern session with a quick assessment of Gropius' career. So most assessments of Gropius' influential career center upon his achievements as an educator, an author rather than an architect, based from what we have been saying earlier. So in his own building designs, he turned away from personal and subjective aspects in favor of reaching for intellectual solutions of larger and socially urgent problems. Like what I've said earlier, the Bauhaus was designed to actually cater to the needs of the students rather than focusing on just the aesthetic. Among his most important ideas was his belief that all design, whether it's share, a building, or a city, should be approached in essentially the same way. And this is where modernists got the idea of practicality and functionality of design. He achieved this through a symmetric study of particular needs and problems involved, and taking into account modern construction materials and techniques, and without reference to previous forms or old styles. So now I'm gonna call my co-host Gail to say her last words on this.
His architecture does not have the aesthetic fascination of Wrights or Le Corbusier, but reflects a sober and programmatic concern that marked his whole life. Yet always, in conversation and criticism, he reminded his pupils of the vitality of the individual spirit, of the spontaneity of life itself. His habit of wearing a beret with a business suit was perhaps symbolic of the two worlds he hoped to bridge: the gap between the rigid mentality of the businessman and technologist, and the imagination of the creative artist.
So that's it, guys. Thank you for spending your time with us in another Let's Talk Modern session, where we've toured the Bauhaus and discussed a lot about Walter Gropius. So this is me, Luisa, signing off, and catch you at the next Let's Talk Modern.